Well, hello again, everyone. I hope you guys are all doing well out there and having a nice October. And as I always kind of had to start these things off, there's always seems to be kind of a weird sort of like setup for all these updates. Like things are going, hope you guys are doing well, and then things are kind of not going quite as well for me in a certain way. Not going as planned. There's always kind of some other qualifier of what's going on and stuff like that. So getting into everything right now in terms of like, okay, we have October here, which is usually Forever Horror Month around the channel here, and it's something I've been doing since 2013. Every October I try to do a whole bunch of horror stuff to kind of be in the mood for all that type of stuff getting up to Halloween, because that's kind of the thing we do. And it's been, like, the first couple of years I did a whole, like, I would always do, like, a ton of videos. Just a ton of stuff. Like, I can't even imagine how I got all this stuff done. Maybe it's just the fact I had more time back then, and now I just don't feel like I can quite get as much done, or maybe it's just the fact that I make so many beefier videos in a certain way that it just takes more time to get them done. Who knows what really all the factors are in that regard, but last couple of years has been kind of thinning out to a certain degree, but I've also been doing, like, more regular, like, horror reviews just, like, throughout the year randomly. Like, I've already done Invisible Man and The Blob and John Carpenter's Vampires this year, so I've already gotten stuff out. We do horror commentaries all year round. So it's like, kind of thinking lately, it's like, why do I keep pushing myself? When it gets to October, it's like, I gotta do this, I gotta get into the zone, I gotta get all this stuff done, hit it up and do all this type of stuff. It's like, we celebrate horror, like, all the fucking time around here. It's like the main attraction to so many of the commentaries, like all the horror franchises, all the things we cover in that regard. We've done so much. It's like, why do I have to go for like 1 month where I gotta like jam pack so much in and push myself hard and get all this stuff done so I don't get a whole bunch of stuff done in October? It feels like a failure. It's like, that's not a good way to work. It's not a healthy or positive way for me to look at things and try to achieve things and try to get things done that I'm excited about and I enjoy. So it's like I was starting to work on things. I did the Conjuring 2 one, which I enjoyed the video. Got a little bit delayed here and there in terms of trying to get certain things done in the schedule I have, and it hasn't gone like super high in the views or something like that. It hasn't gained a lot of traction, so maybe people aren't quite as interested in that. I hit up on something else on that and the pickups here and anything like that, but just like I was trying to ramp up to the next review and trying to get things done and trying to get going on it. It's like it felt too much like I was just trying to force myself to do certain things. I just felt like that it was just not working. So many things lately just being a little taxing, a little arduous. I've been really worn out and tired and having a real tough time just keeping energy going and keeping interest going, and certain other things. Like, it just felt a lot more like work. Just like real laborious type of stuff. And it's like, I just need to kind of have a bit of a break here. Not like I'm going to stop doing things, but I need to have a bit of a change in tone and change in pace or something like that. I got to put the horror stuff a little bit on pause in terms of like the review videos. So I'm not even branding things as Forever Horror Month. They're just Forever Horror Reviews whenever I decide to do them. And so I was like, I just don't quite feel up to it right now. I want to change and go do something with another genre. Cover something else in a different genre. I want to go off and do something with like an action film or something like that. So it's like, I'm just I still have all the stuff I plan to do is still on the agenda. Just going to happen a little later. I'm going to mix it in with some things and bounce back and forth a little bit and kind of spread it out a little bit more. Because I think that's just a little healthier way for me to work in this regard. Because it's just like trying to force myself to push myself and get stuff done and drive myself crazy. It's not productive. It's not constructive. It's not good. And so I was like, I just got to have to refocus myself. Because I got to this realization last night, and when I woke up, I just felt so much better. I slept better. I just felt overall just like it felt more freeing and more refreshing to just like not be worrying about this type of stuff. So I was like, I just have to shift and just kind of just go for whatever it is I feel excited about. Instead of just doing it because I'm kind of expected to do it, because I've set this expectation of doing Forever Horror Month every October. Just go off and do whatever I want. I'm going to go cover the films that I am very passionate to cover at the point in time I want to cover them. So it doesn't matter what month it is. We're going to get back to horror eventually. We're going to do more commentaries. We're going to do more reviews, stuff like that. We're going to always have horror here on the channel. It's a very prominent thing. So I was like, I don't have to force myself within a 31-day span to jam-pack a whole bunch of stuff in there because everyone else is doing it. Not even like everyone else is doing it. I follow plenty of other people who cover films and stuff like that who don't make a theme month out of anything. They kind of just do what they do. And so if you're inclined to do that, that's great. But you don't have to do it right now. You can do it anytime. Horror fans are horror fans all year round. So just one of those things like, I just had to lift this off of my chest and kind of deal with some things and unravel the knots of the complications I was kind of dealing with and kind of bogging me down. So I'm going to get to them. I have stuff in the pickups to talk about in that regard. So they are going to happen. I just need to kind of spread things out and kind of go back and forth in certain things and get around to it when I feel like it's the best thing for me. So you're still going to get all that stuff. It just happened a little later on. So in that regard, there's that. And obviously the commentaries are a separate thing because, as you notice, it's been quite a few weeks since we dropped the Terminator 2 one, and nothing else has hit since because one thing is the fact that Steve has been moving into a new place. He just pretty much moved into the new place today, just kind of sealed the deal now. And so he's been packing stuff and working his job and dealing with all the logistics and paperwork, stuff like that. So he's been very busy. And we had some things planned, and I kind of sat down to start watching some certain things, and it just didn't quite click with me. Clicked a lot more with him than it did for me, and I didn't feel like it was going to quite work as a commentary on my end. So we kind of had things shift and kind of fall off in a certain way. So we're kind of reconstructing things, but I am attempting to see if Trent has something on his mind to kind of go on commentary. I gave him an array of different ideas and titles, stuff like that we could possibly go for, if he's up to it. So hopefully maybe Trent and I can get together, we can at least get something out there to keep the schedule going and all that type of stuff. Then Steve and I will reconvene in November probably and hit off some stuff and get anything back on track and keep moving forward until we get to December. We'll do some particular holiday stuff that you guys will really enjoy, but once we get closer to it, I'll let you know more about it. But basically, one of the things, like, okay, they didn't have the commentaries to kind of fill up the blank spaces on the channel here, so that was something that was kind of hitting on the head there, and being kind of, I always know where I'm starting to feel a little desperate to get something put together, and I need to always remember to kind of pull myself back. Okay, you're getting a little too worried about these different things, and you need to pull it back and not try to do things out of a sense of, man, I just got to do something. Just got to do something. And shouldn't have to worry about that stuff. YouTube is a very mean freaking beast. Algorithms and all these other random fucking horseshit things that the goddamn fucking site does to you drives a lot of creators insane. And you got to be able to manage it. So, I'm trying to pull back from that, focus on something, because we'll get to the media pickups in just a minute, so just so you know that. But I've just been thinking about today and kind of running it through my head and looking through the list and kind of figuring out what just feels right for me right now. What is it that I'm excited about, regardless of anything else going on? I want to do a Bond film. Now, I haven't seen No Time to Die. I probably won't see it until it comes out on video or something like that. Just the fact of the matter. I just want to do a Bond film. I've been wanting to do something about it. I was like, okay, License to Kill. I like License to Kill. It's got a lot of interesting things that I can talk about. I was very amused by certain things, thinking about it in my head. It's like there's a lot of interesting little things here and there with the cast or some of the stunt sequences or a few little things or stuff like that. There's a lot of things I was like, yeah, there's a lot of things here, just like a population of things that I can just deal with and kind of dig into. It's like there's a lot of fertile ground there to talk about things and how the film kind of had all these different things. Like it didn't perform well, and the whole thing with Dalton and him falling off after the fact and stuff like that, which I did touch on a little bit when I did the GoldenEye review a couple of years ago. But it'd be nice to kind of sum up that type of stuff and kind of touch on Living Daylights. But I think License to Kill has a little bit more beefier things and a little more heftier things I really can dig into and can be a lot more interesting on my regard. So that's the front runner right now. I'm thinking about that. I'll do a little research and watching the featurettes and get the feel for it and kind of jump into it, hopefully over the weekend. And so that's basically it. And then we'll get into the media pickups here pretty much right now. Just no reason to delay anything like that. But first off is the thing that I was starting to work on, and I did watch the film, and I started going through the commentary a little bit and stuff like that. But I grabbed up the Relic. Obviously, I have two different Blu-rays here for a certain reason, because Paramount reissued the Relic on Blu-ray last week. It was originally distributed on Blu-ray by Lionsgate, who had produced the special features for it, and apparently owned the rights to those special features, which were not this thing upside down. I thought it was. But the fact of the matter is, Paramount reissued the Blu-ray, did a new encode, which is a much higher bit rate on the film, but didn't license over the special features from the original disc, which were produced and owned by Lionsgate. So after I learned about this and this shipped, I learned about it after it shipped, so I couldn't cancel the damn thing. But it is still a better presentation regardless, so it's worth having. So, but I had to track down, thankfully, because this got reissued, it dropped the price on the second market from the original Blu-ray. Before anyone knows that their special features are not on this disc, I was able to get this for a fairly nice price. Because I got the new one from Bull Moose, and I got it for half off because of my points on there, so I got it for a much, much cheaper price. So I took a little bit of the edge off, had to buy the second one for around $15 or something like that. So here and there and everything. So technically I won't need this after I'm done with the production of the video, because commentary track has a lot of interesting things in terms of like Peter Hyams talking about his cinematography choices and different lenses and the way he's lighting things here and there. I don't think it's going to have a lot of like re-listen value to me in a certain way, and the short little interview doesn't have a whole ton to go off of. So regards to that, it will aid towards the video once I get to it, but I would still recommend, if you're not so like over the top about not having the interview and the commentary track, the new release is still good. It does, all it has is has the trailer on it, and that's the only special feature. But they almost like more than doubled the bit rate on the video, and the 5.1 track, even though the old one has a 7.1, apparently it was not a like true 7.1 remix. It was still like they took the 5.1 and just kind of expanded it into extra channels, and just kind of like did more of a fake 7.1 instead of a natural remix. So the 5.1 on the new disc is still the original theatrical audio. You're not really losing anything. I think there's actually extra bit rate on the extra audio too, so it's still an upgrade in a certain way. Still could benefit from a 4K remaster because of the way he photographed the film and stuff like that. But when I get to the video on that, I will definitely get into that issue of the cinematography and the mastering and stuff like that, how it's looked on home video, and so on and so forth. But I did watch it. I got through the commentary a little bit here and there and stuff like that. So there's definitely interesting things to discuss on the film. Just didn't quite feel like I was trying to push for it too hard, and it just felt a little laborious trying to just kind of keep pushing myself. I gotta get this done at this time, this time. It was too much. Need to slow down, refresh, get myself on a thing where I'm not feeling like I'm just trying to put so much pressure on myself. So the Relic review will still come. It will probably come after I take care of the next video, which will likely be the Bond film License to Kill. But also, as I talked about Conjuring 2, I did end up one day, it's like I woke up and it was a little bit, and I said, okay, I'll just fucking rent Conjuring 3, get up on VOD and watch it. And it's like, I do have certain things I'll discuss in a separate video. But it's like, some people were saying it was like Steve saw it and he thought it was awful. So a lot of people have negative opinions of it, very much so, and stuff like that. Everyone really kind of agrees that there is a lot of flaws with it. Some people are giving it more credit than other people here and there. So I did, obviously the point is I grabbed the fucking thing because I'm going to do a video on it eventually. So we'll see how that goes. I'll see how I format that, knowing that the Conjuring 2 one not performing as well as some other things. We'll see how that goes in the long run, but I'll see how that performs in a certain way, and I'll see how I approach doing a video on the third film. So I got the UHD version because I rented it rented it off of, I think I typically rent things off of Vudu. And they had, basically the regular HD and the 4K one were the exact same price anyway, so I just got the 4K one with the Dolby Vision. Oddly enough, the disc doesn't have Dolby Vision, but the streaming version has Dolby Vision. Don't know why that is. But regardless, so this is just, I think it's just regular HDR10, but even though it was, oddly enough, all three Conjuring films have all been shot on 2K. Like, it was like 2.3 or 2.4K or something like that. The cameras or something like that, in that resolution. So it's only been, that hasn't been photographed in 4K or anything like that, but I felt like HDR is probably going to give me a little extra something. And because I ordered this at the same time with the Relic, and I got the Relic half off, it felt a little bit better to pay almost, I think it was like $27.99 for this, plus that for like $5 or $6. So it felt like it kind of evened itself out in the regard. I'm buying both of them from like a bulk price, so I can kind of delineate the price of each one of them a little more easily in my head. But anyway, I don't think the special features are anything all that much to get into, but I thought there were certain things that are very interesting I could get into. There's a bit of a shift for the tone and the style for the franchise, and sorry, because it's not James Wan directing, he's just producing, but I think there's interesting things I can break down and critique on this whole thing. So I thought, like, yeah, I can get to it. I can get to it in due time. We'll see when it drops. Right now I'm just thinking Bond, then probably the Relic, and then we'll see what goes on from there. But I am still going, most likely after the Relic, I'm going right into that Miami Vice movie review. Because that has to happen. I'm just like, dead set, get it done in November, because I need to get that done. I need to get that focused and get all that information put together for the production history on that film. There's a lot to get into on that thing, so I got to put out a certain block of time. Oddly enough, November tends to be kind of an odd month where I only get like very minimal stuff done, but I'll see how, if I'm a little easier on myself this month, maybe it'll translate into a little bit more productivity next month, so I don't run myself ragged or anything like that. Get myself on an even plane where I don't feel like I'm burning myself out or get myself off in weird places where I don't belong. So I'll get into something else on the next one, but I did get my Star Trek 4K set. Now, obviously has the Ultra HD set and the regular Blu-rays with all the same transfers or anything like that, and all the legacy bonus features in that regard. And the only one I actually sat down to watch mainly was Search for Spock, because if you go back and watch my old video on it, it was the fact that the cinematographer decided to like really brightly lit everything. Despite the fact that he had this like high-speed camera film stock that would work very well without a whole lot of light, he decided to light it very brightly because he's like, oh, this is going to be shown in 70 millimeters, so I want to show as much depth of field in the whole thing as possible, so I'm going to light it so brightly that it kind of made the film feel a little artificial. But the 4K transfer, the entire mastering, did improve the look of the film to a certain degree. It, obviously, the DNR, the digital noise reduction, is all gone, which is a goddamn release, because it looked the worst because it was so obvious, because, again, it was so bright. You could just see all the smudges all over the place. It looked terrible. This one looks a lot more filmic. The colors come off a little bit more balanced and really kind of good. It just looks a little bit more dialed in. Doesn't change it radically in a certain way in terms of like not making it look overly bright or something like that. But it still kind of dialed things in to make it look more filmic, a little bit better presentable in that regard. So I feel like it did the film a lot more justice overall to make it look a lot better in general. So going into like I've had some problems with the Wrath of Khan remaster they did, because I just feel like it's really dark, it's really desaturated. I just had problems watching that remastered disc from 2016. I've always had to fiddle with the settings on the TV. It just never looked quite right. I put in the 4K disc and I still had problems with it. A lot of people give it great marks. It just looks wrong to me. It just doesn't look right on my TVs. On my old TV, on the new 4K TV, just like there's just something that doesn't look quite right for me, and how they master it. Just like it keeps bothering me. I do intend to go watch Voyage Home eventually, because I love Voyage Home. I just think it's one of the most perfect Star Trek films ever. It's just absolutely beloved and actually fabulous. I think that film did get nominated for an Oscar for Best Cinematography that year. So I think it is a really damn good looking movie. I think the 4K is really going to do it favors. And those lit a lot of things with a lot of like smoky haze, whatnot on the Klingon Bird of Prey, and they're shooting a lot of like practical locations with a lot of overcast or stuff like that. I still think it can come off looking very nice and filmic, and have all the colors and the detail and all the kind of like highlights come off really nicely. I think it can look really fabulous. Motion picture, I haven't watched yet. I'm sure it looks a lot better than it ever has before, but apparently there's been guy I follow on Twitter who I've actually provided the Laserdisc version of the widescreen version of motion picture to him, because he does visual comparisons. He's doing visual comparisons for the motion picture of the old DVD and the Blu-Rays and stuff like that, all the different transfers. And he did go through and like there's a lot of things they went through and did like almost kind of quick and dirty sort of digital alterations to it for some unknown reason. Like they tried to fix a certain like effect shot with the Enterprise leaving space dock, but it kind of screwed other things up in the whole thing. So they did like weird things that really didn't need to. All they had to do was like take the 4K scan, just touch it up, not really touch it up, but just kind of adjust everything to make it look presentable on the format, and do the HDR and stuff like that. Keep trying to say HDR, and I end up trying almost saying DNR. He's getting all these acronyms screwed up. But they didn't really have to go in and fix things. That's what the director's edition is doing. That's what all those guys are doing. They're all those guys with like David C. Fine and Darren Dockerman, all these guys. The whole team from 20 years ago is doing all that work now for the 4K restoration. You don't have to you don't have to futz it up. Just leave it the way it was, theatrical. I know the theatrical version was heavily flawed because they rushed things and didn't even have a really proper final cut when they put it out in theaters. It was still certain things that weren't polished up and done right, but just leave it the way it is and let the proper restoration team go in there and do the version that Robert Wise wanted done. So leave it alone. But regardless, I'm sure it looks spectacular, regardless of the little things they kind of futzed around with. But I haven't got around to watch it because I really just don't like the theatrical version anyway. I only really want to watch the director's edition because I just think that's the best version. I think it just has the subtle pieces of nuance and little things that just add more to the story. So, regardless of that, so still, I was happy to get this. And of course, they ended up having a sale like a couple of days ago where it went down to like $50 or something like that on Amazon or somewhere. I think it was Amazon, where I got this for a little over $60. I had a coupon and for deep discount, and they actually had it like $10 less than everyone else. But then it went out of stock. I guess I ordered it and it was already back ordered. I don't know what the hell happened. Regardless of that, so eventually got in stock and they shipped the damn thing a lot sooner than I thought it would do. And I thought it was like, there's no copies left anywhere. They gotta go back to the plant and remanufacture everything. It's gonna take weeks. Eventually got to me. It's all good. It's fine. Stuff like that. But I left the cases down over there because these fit better without the cases on the shelf. But I did grab up the Scream Factory 4Ks of Halloween 4 and Halloween 5. Now, obviously, as I was shooting a video to do a proper review on these things, but I'm thinking a little. I don't think I did quite as good of a job with it. In retrospect, I felt like there's a little. I could have shot it better. I could have presented things a little stronger in a certain way. I wasn't feeling 100% on the video. And so I'm going to give you a little bit of thoughts here and there right now. Is that one, the audio that they put on here in terms of the stereo tracks, the new Dolby Atmos are really damn good. The stereo tracks of both of these, I'm fine sitting down just listening to stereo tracks. They sounded really damn good. They got the levels up the right way. All the dialogue is super clear and just up front in a certain way. Just like everything just sounded strong. Everything just sounded strong. Just like I had no problems hearing anything of the score, of the dialogue, of the sound effects, just from the stereo track, which is one of those old ultra stereo tracks. Like last couple of Friday 13 films from Paramount, they use ultra stereo, which is kind of a lower cost. I get a little bit more cost efficient, sort of Dolby Digital, Dolby Stereo sort of alternative in a certain way, and sound great. They sound great on this thing. I was going back between that. You got some 5.1 tracks, which are kind of like the old legacy ones from the old DVDs and the old Blu-ray, stuff like that if you're interested. But the Atmos track still just gave a lot more spatial things to the score in a certain way, and then a few minor sound effects here and there. I think mainly the score was the thing that really just got a lot more space added into them. And the transfers looked really good. 4 looked the best because they used a lot more color in the cinematography or anything like that. Because they were trying to approximate at least the look, despite the change in the aspect ratio, still trying to approximate a little bit of that Dean Cundey photography style. His style, lighting with the blue gels and stuff like that. I thought 4 just made it look so much better. Just brought more of the colors out from the scan. Both films, the flesh tones look so much more natural. They just bring out so many different things that just look a lot better. Obviously, the detail blows everything else away because there's like 15-year-old DVD scans they were using on the Blu-rays, from the old Divimax ones they had. So they had kind of worn themselves out, and they needed a good refresh. I thought both of these discs really came off well. 4 doesn't really have much more in terms of like extra bonus features. It just has a still gallery of newspaper ads and stuff like that. 5 actually has an entire interview with the cinematographer, and he goes through talking about the production of the film, how him and the director kind of approached the entire photography style, from the lighting and stuff like that, how they kind of shifted things away from that kind of blue style and different things like Dwight H. Little and his cinematographer in 4 still tried to keep on. 5, they completely changed the style of it, the look overall, and they're just trying to go for something different. He talks about all the people on the production, Donald Pleasance and Daniel Harris, stuff like that. It's a really nice interview. It's a really, really solid piece of work. I thought he just talked about things really clearly and concisely. It was a nice little thing, and they have some deleted footage, and obviously the long-lost alternate opening where they did reshoot to have like that mountain man in the shack going down on the side of the river. That got really silly in our commentary, but this is almost more silly because now it's the original opening, which they re-splice into like the existing footage of the film, like it would be as if you really actually had it in the film. So he comes up, Michael goes down the creek and he comes upon this like mystical man they call Dr. Death in the script. He's dealing with all kinds of witchcraft and weird type of things, so that's where the thorn thing comes on the wrist. So they had the explanation for that originally, but they felt like out of all the ridiculous fucking things in Halloween 5, the psychic nonsense of the mute girl, Donald Pleasance losing his fucking mind, and all these other random things where the Myers house turns into a gothic fucking mansion or something like that, this guy doesn't work. Oh, this idea didn't work. Let's reshoot this sequence with something else. That's the one thing they thought that didn't work in the film. Because, again, just want the most hilarious time possible. Just go back and listen to me and Steve talking about that fucking movie on the commentary track. Both of us are like, that's just like the pinnacle. We've never been able to reach that level of absurdity. Just how much I lose my fucking shit by the end of that movie. When the logic completely disappears. And everything goes completely off the fucking rails like we've had too much of this fucking nonsense. It's amazing commentary. Just everything. I've listened to it so many times. It's so entertaining. Just hear it go off. But our commentary for 4 is also very good. Get some nice laughs. It's a little bit underrated because we gush so much about how just 5 turned out like such a riot. 4 is a really good one. 4 is a really good one. Our commentary is very good, but I think 4 is still a very good film. Just sitting down, I watched that one all the way through. It's like, once you get over the hump of like how Dr. Loomis and Michael didn't get completely incinerated in the Inferno at the end too, hey, it's a pretty good film. It's a pretty good film. It's smart enough. It's not like the super smart script or anything like that, but it works. It's a very functional script. And that's even the baseline praise. It's a really nice script. They cast everything so well. Came off so well because they cast so many great roles. And they just had a lot of good things I think just worked very nicely for 1988 to bring Michael Myers back in a very safe type of fashion. But it's still a good film. Still got good qualities overall. So it's like, go for it. I think they're both good buys. I think they're all both good buys. Obviously, 5 is like because 5 is so kind of lambasted being so bad, they've put some extra features on that kind of sweeten the deal. So there's plenty of part 4 fans. They'll grab the disc up. 5's a little bit more janky, but if you tell them there's like some extra new stuff on here, and real like old lost stuff that you never thought you'd see, that sweetens it. And it's like, maybe we'll get people to buy that now. So in regards to that, I do want to get 2 and 3. 3 is kind of more of the thing is like, okay, I got the Steelbook last year, which came out in 2018, and had a 4K scan. They originally purported as being from the original camera negative. Everyone's kind of rethought that and think it probably came from the Inner Positive, where the new one is from the original camera negative, approved by Deke Cundy. So I'll probably grab it. I don't know if I'll grab it up right away, but it's going to be around for plenty of time. So I'll probably grab it up in due time and just get across the board there, the even level type of things, get my Dolby Vision and Engage and anything like that. And cool stuff. So it's like, all our Halloween commentaries are pretty entertaining as they are. None of them really get into boring territory or anything like that. We do a really fun job of it. If you're looking to kind of do something a little bit different, definitely hit up our Halloween commentaries for the season. So there's that, and that's all I got for media pickups. That's all there is. But yeah, there's also there's the reversible artwork on these things with the kind of newer stuff, and obviously kind of people are a little unhappy about this. If I get it on the right one. Oh, that's weird. Because on Halloween 4, it's definitely here. Halloween 4, they've got the Eco case. Little thing that everyone's kind of upset by. But my Halloween 5 one is not an Eco case, but this one is an Eco case for 4. That's strange. That's strange. In regards to that, they do have the alternate artwork, so I keep the slip covers as they are. Obviously, you can't change that, but I always try to flip the inside ones back to the original poster artwork for the Scream Factory stuff. Just give me that sort of variety in a certain way. So, guys, that's all I got right now. Hopefully you've enjoyed this, and a nice little rundown of those Halloween 4Ks in a certain way. And that's all I got for you at this point in time. So I just feel a lot more excited. Just a lot more excited now that I kind of figured out what wasn't working for myself right now and what was bogging me down. And I just felt excited to start thinking about doing that Bond film. I was just very, very happy about it. And happy is just one of those things like, I got to be happy doing this stuff. If I feel kind of bogged down and feel like it's just work and not loving it. If I don't feel like I'm loving what I'm doing, then what the hell am I doing anyway? So it's one of those things like, I'm just going to do what feels right to do. So, again, I put more pressure on myself than anyone else puts upon me. So there's one of these things, like I got to learn to kind of manage that and try to just not do that anymore. Just not do that. So next October, we'll see what happens next October. Right now, I just feel like doing something other than horror. So we're going to get off on certain things, then we'll come back and we've got some other things planned, and we'll get to it in due time. We'll get back to horror in due time. So I'll always be here, and I'm just reiterating myself again, but that's all there is at this point in time, guys. So as always, I mean, if you're looking to keep this channel supported and keep things going in a certain way, the Patreon's always there. And you always get the extra early access to certain things and various other little things. So just hit up, check it out, and if you're inclined, go do that. Otherwise, just keep liking and sharing and commenting. Like, the sharing stuff is the biggest thing. Anything you enjoy around here, go ahead and share it around wherever it is that you share things around at, because that just creates more business for the channel. That creates more people coming in and watching things and getting more expansive stuff. That helps build the channel more and creates a lot more opportunity for me to do more things when the channel gets larger and they get more views and various other things benefit from that. So guys, thanks so much for just being around here and engaging. So thanks so much, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.